948 drones in 24 hours. That's not a typo. On March 24, 2026, Russia launched the single largest aerial attack in modern military history against Ukraine. Nearly 1,000 unmanned aircraft, most of them Iranian-designed Shaheds manufactured under license in Russia, crossed into Ukrainian airspace in waves. And while the world was focused on the Iran war, this attack signaled something far more dangerous. The next phase of the Russia-Ukraine war has begun. Let's break down exactly what happened, why it matters, and what it tells us about the future of warfare. The attack began at 2 a.m. local time on March 24th. Russian forces launched 948 drones from multiple locations: Crimea, Krasnodar, Bryansk, and the Sea of Azov. Unlike previous attacks that targeted a single city or region, this was a nationwide assault. Every major Ukrainian city was targeted simultaneously. Kyiv, Odessa, Kharkiv, Dnipro, Lviv, all hit in the same operation. Ukrainian air defense forces shot down 793 of the 948 drones, an intercept rate of 83.6%. That sounds impressive until you do the math. 155 drones got through. Each Shahed carries a 50-kilogram warhead. That's 7,750 kilograms of explosives hitting Ukrainian cities, power plants, and military installations in a single night. 5 people were killed in Odessa alone. Critical infrastructure across the country was damaged. Ukraine's power grid, already operating at 60% capacity after 3 years of systematic targeting, lost another 8% of generation capability. But the real story isn't the damage, it's the strategy. Military analysts have identified this attack as the opening move of Russia's 2026 spring offensive. Here's why. For 3 months, Russia had been building forces along the Eastern Front, moving troops, equipment, and logistics into position. Satellite imagery showed the largest Russian military buildup since the initial invasion in February 2022. The drone swarm wasn't an end in itself. It was preparation, designed to degrade Ukrainian air defenses and energy infrastructure before the ground offensive begins. And that offensive is now underway. In the 4 days since the 948 drone attack, Russian forces have launched probing attacks along a 200-kilometer front from Kupiansk to Donetsk. Ukrainian General Staff reports indicate that Russia is committing fresh reserves, units that haven't seen combat in the current rotation. This suggests a major push, not a feint. Now let's talk about the technology, because the 948 drone attack represents a fundamental shift in how wars are fought. The Shahed 136, redesigned and manufactured in Russia as the Jazeera 2, costs approximately $20,000 per unit. A Patriot interceptor missile costs $4 million. The math is devastating. Even at an 83% intercept rate, Russia is trading $19 million in drones for $3.2 billion in Ukrainian and allied air defense missiles. This is the economics of attrition, and Russia is winning the math. Ukraine has adapted. GEPARD anti-aircraft systems, electronic warfare jamming, even modified machine gun teams shooting down low-flying Shaheds. The cost per kill has dropped significantly, but the volume problem remains. When you launch 948 drones in one night, even a small percentage getting through causes catastrophic damage. This is why Zelenskyy made an unannounced visit to the UAE on March 28th, 4 days after the attack. Ukraine is now actively selling its drone warfare expertise to Gulf states who face the same threat from Iran. Ukrainian drone units have more combat experience than any military in the world. They're turning that experience into both revenue and diplomatic leverage. The timing of Russia's spring offensive is not coincidental. It's strategic. While the United States is consumed by the Iran war, the No Kings protests, and a NATO crisis, Russia sees a window. American attention is divided. European defense production is stretched. The weapons pipeline to Ukraine, already slowed by political disputes, could slow further as U.S. military resources are redirected to the Persian Gulf. Putin's calculation is straightforward. If the U.S. is fighting Iran, it can't simultaneously support Ukraine at the same level. Every Patriot battery deployed to the Gulf is one not available for Kyiv. Every billion spent on the Iran campaign is one not available for Ukrainian aid. The 948 drone attack was Russia's way of testing whether Ukraine can defend itself while its biggest ally is distracted. The early evidence is concerning. Ukraine shot down 252 of 273 drones in the March 27-28 overnight attack, a strong performance. But the ground offensive is where the real test begins. Ukrainian ammunition supplies are at their lowest level since the Kharkiv counteroffensive in 2022. Artillery shell deliveries from European allies have improved, but still fall short of consumption rates. Here's where the geopolitical picture becomes truly alarming. The world now has 5 simultaneous military conflicts involving major powers or their direct proxies: the Iran war, the Russia-Ukraine war, the Yemen Red Sea crisis, the Pakistan-Afghanistan border conflict, and the slow-burning China-Taiwan standoff. 3 of these involve nuclear-armed states. There is no active arms limitation treaty in force. Global military spending is at a Cold War record of $2.6 trillion. This is not a historical pattern we've seen before. Even during the Cold War, major powers fought through proxies, not in 5 theaters simultaneously. The risk of miscalculation, escalation, or accidental confrontation between nuclear states is higher than at any point since the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. So what happens next in Ukraine? 3 scenarios. Scenario 1, Russia's spring offensive makes limited gains 10-20 kilometers before culminating. Ukraine holds its defensive lines but can't counterattack. The front stabilizes. Both sides dig in for another year. The war becomes permanently frozen with neither side able to achieve its objectives. Probability, 50%. Scenario 2, Russia achieves a breakthrough. The combination of the drone campaign, ground offensive, and reduced Western support creates a gap in Ukrainian defenses. Russia captures a strategically significant objective, Kupiansk, Chasiv Yar, or pushes toward the Dnipro River. Ukraine faces its most serious military crisis since 2022. Western support surges in response, but too late to prevent significant territorial losses. Probability, 30%. Scenario 3, Ukraine leverages its drone advantage. While Russia builds mass, Ukraine uses precision strikes on Russian logistics, ammunition depots, and command centers deep behind the lines. Russia's offensive stalls before it begins. The war of attrition continues, but Ukraine maintains initiative. Zelensky's Gulf partnerships bring new resources and diplomatic openings. Probability, 20%. 948 drones, one night. The largest aerial attack since World War II, and it was just the opening move. The spring of 2026 will determine whether Ukraine survives as a sovereign state or becomes the first country in the 21st century to lose a war of conquest. And right now, the world is too busy watching the Middle East to notice. What do you think? Will Ukraine hold, or has the tide turned? Comments below. Subscribe to Realpolitik for analysis you won't find on cable news.